going. That means placing the cat before the horse. Fanikade's case was very funny. 200, first the count was reduced over time. The quantum of allegation, the money being alleged, they went to about 6 different times, changing their procedures, changing the allegations, changing the accusations, and that tells you that thorough job was not done. And once you don't blame the court, it is a universal phenomenon that once there is any doubt in prosecution, the doubt is settled in favor of the accused. That is why in criminal justice administration system, you have to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt. And that reasonable doubt does not mean beyond all doubts, but reasonable doubt. That a reasonable man will look at this and say, yes, this man committed this offense.
Because if we look at 7 years, someone, for instance, if a person is innocent,
yes,
in those 7 years,
we'll go through harrowing times.
And then if the person is guilty, then at the end of the day, you let the person go.
The structural problem that we have there is that we still have problem with our judicial system, with our justice delivery system. Matters go to court and they last for ages. Some criminal trials have lasted for as long as 12, 13 years. There are some those are the ones that are celebrated and reported. There are some that have lasted for up to 15 years. And even in some civil matters, there are some civil matters that have lasted for up to 30 years in a particular court without shifting to the higher court. So that goes to support the argument by some people, which I am a member of the school of thought, that one of the things that Nigeria needs to do is to establish an anti-corruption court. If this country agrees, which is no doubt that we are all in agreement, that corruption is one of the major problems we have in Nigeria. One of the major problems we have in this country, and has bedeviled our social, political, and economic development. Then we have to tackle it headlong. One of the ways to tackle it headlong is to set up an anti-corruption court, where matters will start from point A and get to point Z without starting de novo. One of the principal reasons is that once there is a transfer or change of a judge sitting on a particular court, the next judge will come and start de novo. And when he starts afresh, the matter will now begin. Over time, even some of the evidences and some of the people that would have, the witnesses that would have testified, either they have lost interest or the evidences will have been destroyed or altered or tampered with. And the court definitely cannot judge based on public opinion. The court must judge based on the issues brought before the court.
Talking about public opinion, of course, also in the news is the probe, the NNPC probe. Would you say that the 4-man committee is already gone to the public opinion court instead of, addressing the issues? Yes, they said between 2012 and May 2015, the NNPC generated $8.1 billion, but it was just 4.3
something that was remitted.
That was remitted.
Yeah.
So should we go first to the court of the people or to go to courts of law?
I think the panel are doing the two. First, they want the people to know what is happening. And don't forget that there have been series of panels set up to do the same thing previously, and then they just need to take the books and read. We heard about the auditing of NNPC during Jonathan's time, that they didn't submit their report until when people started clamoring for it. So they are doing the two, but I expect them to have taken their time to concretize their findings before coming to the public. Let me deviate a bit, and in addition to what my colleague have said, fighting corruption, we shouldn't just narrow it to arresting, investigating, and prosecuting. I think what the president is doing is okay. We have to discourage corruption, because corruption is practiced more among government officials. So we have to discourage it. We have to prevent waste. We have to prevent leakages. We have to prevent corrupt practices. And the way to do this is to hold every ministry accountable. It's not that difficult to fight corruption, because you see, only you come to the, you come and defend a budget. You have an approval to spend some money. What we have in the past was that instant law were being violated with impunity. They don't follow internal rules. They don't follow standard practices. They just do anything anyhow. Otherwise, the rate of corruption wouldn't have been as high as it is. So to curtail it, one, we need to discourage it. To discourage it, every ministry must be answerable, must comply with extant law as regard expenditures. You know, when you come to defend your budget, you cannot overshoot your budget without great approval. When we do this, then again, coming to fighting corruption, it is not only the EFCC that fight corruption. We have the ICPC, we have the police. And what we have is duplicity. I think the government should also look at that. ICPC, EFCC, and the police. We need some kind of measure, you know. We don't need to,
Measure?
Measure, yes.
ICPC, EFCC, and the police?
Either you are merging the ICPC with EFCC, or you are merging the ICPC with the police and let the police take up their functions. Primarily, it is
because there's a special fraud unit in the police.
Exactly. Exactly. Special fraud unit. The police special fraud unit.
Okay.
Yes, I think the police, unlike the EFCC, the police is not well funded. That is the problem they have. I happen to have prosecuted some cases for the police, for the federal government under the police, and I know the problem they have, free of charge or pro bono, and I know the problem they have is logistics. They cannot, let's take for example, the defunct Gulf Bank. A lot of foreign accounts were opened. The police could not travel to go and check them. They could not go to get evidence from that angle, you know. And again, the police are easily influenced. You know, when one governor, ex-governor, one big chief, one Royal Highness calls and he sees everybody shivering. I think the president is setting the example. I am not above the law. Nobody is above the law. That is the first thing we want to make clear.
Let's look at that issue of setting the example, Mr. Nzako.
Yes.
I think the chairman of the CC Code of Conduct Bureau was told the news agency of Nigeria about the fact that governors are not coming forth to declare their assets. Is there a problem here?
It's a total breach of the provisions of the Constitution. The schedule of the Constitution makes copious provision that before you even assume office, you must declare your assets and your liabilities
So,
as a public office holder.
Now
And every 4 years you do so, or immediately after leaving office.
Let's tie that to what Mr. Okechukwu talked about, the president having his own aura.
Yes.
He has set an example. He has gone to the Code of Conduct Bureau and declared his assets.
Yes.
Even though Nigerians are screaming that it should have been done
It
publicly,
should
like he
have been
said.
public.
Okay.
Wanted it public.
But now the chairman of the CCB is saying the governors are not coming forward. Are they not seeing the example he said?
There you come, Nyota. I like your that question, because any governor that has not declared his assets and liabilities should be shown the way out of office immediately. It is an impeachable offense against the Constitution. So, and that is why we are saying the issue of blatant abuse of our laws and our Constitution must stop. Why should a governor assume office without declaring his assets? And the Code of Conduct Bureau knows that. The Constitution also makes provision for establishment of Code of Conduct Tribunal. And that is why we are saying that, yes, the president is taking his time, but the president needs to speed up, especially with the appointment of Attorney General. If you want to separate the office of Attorney General from that of Minister for Justice, fine, let him go ahead and do that. But somebody must be in charge. Somebody must be in charge. For instance, the Code of Conduct Tribunal, for instance, should be immediately constituted to begin to look into the books and bring any governor, any sitting governor, who has not declared his asset to book.
The fact that he's even sitting and has not declared,
is already a breach. It's already an impeachable offense. And then the Code of Conduct Bureau chairman just said that, and Nigerians see it in person. It is a heinous crime against our Constitution that deserves serious treatment, that should kick the governor out of office. Yes, the Constitution even said that should immediately, the governors may be latching in on the lacuna there, that immediately could mean any time. But the doctrine of interpretation tells us what immediately means.
What does it mean?
Immediately means even shortly before you assume office. And 1 month down the line, you cannot say it is so short. You're supposed to even declare that before assumption of office. or immediately after assuming office. That means less than 1 week